Welcome back. Retirement realities. 37% of Gen Xers say that they cannot afford to stop working and fully retire someday, according to a new survey from TD Ameritrade. Joining us right now to talk about it is Ramsey Solutions financial expert and author of Retire Inspired, Chris Hogan. Chris, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to be with you.
Does this surprise you?
No, it really doesn't.
No, I mean,
actually, Maria, I look at this and I think these numbers are low. I'm traveling all around the country talking to people, and as I talk with them, I realize they don't understand. They don't understand what's at stake, and they don't know what to do. I mean, we've got 17%, according to this survey, aren't saving anything, right? We've got 49% that know that they're behind. I think those numbers are higher, and people need to wake up and get more serious about this topic.
Bob.
Hey, Chris, Bob Nardelli here. Do you think the increase in credit card use in November, because the consumer was anticipating this new tax law and they figured, okay, I'll spend now and then I'll pay it off later. Last time we saw one of these tax breaks, a lot of it went into savings as opposed to reducing debt or accelerating, spending in the marketplace, Chris.
I don't think the credit card debt that we went into in Americans as a whole in November, $28 billion, had anything to do with the tax plan. What I think it has to do with is dependence. Americans have developed this appetite for debt, and it's in epidemic proportions. We have this mentality of, I'll just get it now and deal with it later. The problem is that people are going to be paying off holiday spending in July and August of this year. So what we have to do is start to help people to understand debt is not your friend. It's a thief. It steals from you now, and it makes you pay later. So get intentional with this and start to understand debt's not your friend. We have to attack it and get it out of our lives.
Yeah, but meanwhile, credit card debt is at a record high, topping $1 trillion, according to the Federal Reserve. This put customers past the debt benchmark right before the 2008 financial crisis. So, I mean, we know what to do with debt. You got to get out of debt before anything in terms of a savings plan. But do you worry that this is an early warning sign of something to come in terms of tripping up markets?
Well, we all know the markets and things of that nature aren't things that we can control. But, Maria, I can tell you this. People dealing with their debt levels is something they can control. I mean, we just had a recent Fed interest rate hike. So people that have credit cards, their minimum payments are going to start to go up. And now things are going to get tighter at home. So I want to encourage people to get intentional with getting out of debt. Stop doing math and get intentional. List your debts out from smallest to biggest and attack that little one first while you make minimum payments. But, Maria, there's another step. When you pay off that credit card, close it out, get rid of it, and develop a new lifestyle.
But that hurts your credit score. When you reduce your available credit, it can hurt your credit score, Chris.
Dagan, credit scores are not an indication of how wealthy someone is doing.
No, but if you want to buy a house, it's important. If you want to go and get a mortgage.
If you want to buy a home, what you do is you find a bank that can do manual underwriting. You save up a down payment of 10 to 20%, show that you've been on your job or in your career and that you can afford the payment. You can get a mortgage without having $50,000 of credit card debt.
Well, you know what? We talked about that yesterday, actually, because the people with lower FICO scores are having a really hard time getting the lending. There hasn't been much, really, as much activity as you want to see. So it's a quandary in terms of how that opens up, Chris. That's a longer conversation, I know, for another time.
It is.
It's
really
great to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Chris Hogan,